Hello everybody, welcome back as ever to Building Blocks. Thank you for that, fan. Where we program Minecraft mods live on camera and watches things explode quite rapidly. So, we actually have some options for tonight, everybody. Well, there's one thing that I know that my community has been going rabid for, as it was announced like a couple of days ago. And then there's another thing which is a lot less visual and a lot more grindy. So I'll show you what I've got, and then you can make your own decisions. I think I know exactly what you'll go for, but we'll find out. We'll find out together. Okay. How to describe the thing you're seeing? Well, we're in the various equipment workspace, first and foremost, and of course, it's still June, so we still have Pride Kobolds. Just throwing that out there immediately. And I actually have a tail. This is a very recent addition, as in, like, yesterday, but I have a kobold tail cosmetic. It is dyeable, just like the horns. You can have it look however you like. And I also have some heart beast horns here just to like complete the look. So this is my kobold cosplay, I guess. I'm one of the tribe? Clutch? I actually don't know what a group of kobolds is referred to as, but you know. Yeah, so yeah, we can like dress up and like fully take part in the Pride affairs if we like. I also have a few more pieces. So here's the other tail that is currently implemented. This is the Kirin tail, or Keelin, however you want to pronounce it. I'm gonna have to time how I speak with like the orientation of this fan, aren't I? Jeez. And that is not the only change. You see, previously this was a head cosmetic and such. Now it is a head or cosmetic curio, so consequently we have 4 different slots in here that are purely for cosmetics. This is a custom curio slot, hence you can have any combination of these things in here, so we can actually combine our horns and have some really interesting looks if we want. And there is also a new kind of, let's just stick with a kobold look for the time being, because it is June. Yeah. You can also combine ones of the same kind, and it looks as weird as one would expect, but in some ways, not quite so much. We also have, over here, people are going to love the second I grab this thing, aren't they? Storm Sage horns. And these look exactly the way that you're thinking. And moreover, as we can see from here, they are in fact dyeable. So you can have whatever color of lightning you desire on your head, essentially. Just pick it up, just grab whatever you like. No worries to be had there. These are craftable if we get, let's see, the deer antlers and the ram horns and a never star. There we go. Then we can actually come over here. These together gets us the Karen horns. That and that gets us the Storm Sage horns. And later on, I'm planning, I don't know how long this will take me to figure out, but later on, if you add an Eye of Ender to these, you will get the Patron Kirin horns, which will include the, like, blinking eye above the head, that kind of thing. So that is a full crafting tree to get to these. The deer antlers and the ram horns are still uncraftable, they're purely cosmetics. I have contemplated, though, putting all of the cosmetics into a loot table and just appending that to a whole bunch of stuff. So you actually have a chance to find the cosmetics in the wild, as it were. You know, just for purely survival plays. I know people like that, so might as well make it an option. Over here, we have some other pieces that don't currently have full items, but nonetheless. So we have wolf ears, which are also dyeable. I don't know if it necessarily comes across as well, but they're wolf ears, so, you know, it counts. And then we have cat ears as well, or cats as far as Minecraft models them. So they might not look quite so nyan nyan to you, but nonetheless, that's what the cat ears in Minecraft look like. And as we can tell from this row, they are once again dyeable, so you can have whatever color you like. Not remotely difficult there. Hell. And up here, I believe these are just the tails, and tails dyed, but nonetheless. Kobolds, Kieran, yep, just the tails, which I've already shown you. So, I gave my community and more or less carte blanche to describe whatever kind of, like, tails and such they would like, and boy did they deliver. Somewhat predictably, I suspect, because in addition to these two tails, I also have these ones to implement. So let's see, we've got a dragonfly, an ant/wasp tail, a spiked reptile tail, which might just be a variation of dragon, I'm not 100% just yet. Dragon tail, the classic demon tail with the like semi-hard, like the spade shape at the end of it. A split tail cat tail, so that's like blunk, like a Y shape kind of cat tail, which is mostly from Bakeneko? I think I'm remembering that correctly. My brain's going to Bakemono, which is just monster, but yeah. Rat tail, rabbit tail, horse tail, cat tail, and wolf tail, stackable up to 9, so you can use it as a kitsune tail, essentially. All from like 1 to 9, and dye it appropriately, I guess. I mean, maybe I make that its own thing so that you can have a tail actually has like a white tip to it. That might be better, I guess. So Foxtail, stackable. Okay, so I've just added another one for myself in the course of explaining it to people. Goody. This is Feature Creep in action, everybody. So, there is the one thing that we could do today. The other thing, if we go to the VO workspace, the various oddities workspace, real quick. Bakeneko sounds right, Bakeneko, okay, good to know I've got that right. The other thing is, we recently finished the bulk of legwork on the species system, so the only thing I have left on that to do now, for the most part, is to just make the actual selection screen look as nice. And then that's basically just ready to go. Just need to all the species so that there's a decent selection when you're first working on stuff. But the next thing after the species is what's called templates. Templates are powerful things. They can give you very significant abilities and such, and moreover, anybody can have them. They are most commonly gained during gameplay, so they don't have to obey the same kind of power metrics as species do, because those can be selected on day 0. And they can give you very powerful abilities because there's the assumption that you've had to go through some amount of effort to get them. There's a few special ones like Half Dragon that are kind of expected to be taken like at the start, that kind of thing. But then there's things like Lich, which turns you into an undead and gives you a paralysis punch ability. Like there's a lot of like really powerful kind of things to be had in there, but the major difference between a species and a template is that there are conditions. You, for instance, can't become a half dragon if you're not a humanoid to begin with. Or at least I think that's correct. Let me check the wiki and make sure I'm not misremembering that. There we go. Any living corporeal creature. So you cannot have the incorporeality, or any form of incorporeality. You cannot have living, you must be living, so you cannot be undead. And I was wrong, you can in fact be non-humanoid, but yeah. So those are essentially the conditions. You must be of these. Hence, we need to create effectively very similar to an advancement system to identify if you meet the conditions of having a particular template, as well as a way of storing that into the JSON data so that we can actually like reload it and apply it, that kind of thing. What are the conditions for Lich? Any humanoid creature. Literally any humanoid. Doesn't even actually have to be undead, which is interesting. I would have thought living would have made an appearance here, but nope, it just has to be humanoid. But as a consequence of that, in addition to a bunch of stuff, you get Paralyzing Touch, which is permanent in this, but I don't know if it'll be permanent in various oddities, because that could be really cheap. You just walk up, like, a Lich that whenever a Lich hits with its touch attack, which is literally like when a melee attack lands, you become permanently paralyzed. Now there's a lot of different creature types that are immune to paralysis, but that seems real cheap to me. Especially if you're doing PvP. But yeah. But yeah, that's an aside there. They also get big damage reduction, like 15, which would, in the terms of the damage range of like Minecraft, would basically mean nothing ever hurts you. Immune to cold, electricity, polymorph, mind-affecting attacks. It's a whole mess of like bad news there. But Lich is one of the higher end templates in vanilla Dungeons and Dragons, so yeah, probably not getting that one, like, for a month or so. Like, at least an in-game month, I want to say. There's probably a lot to go through there. But that one theoretically also has a quotient of, like, what your, my brain's gone dead. What your, like, casting ability is, that sort of thing. So, in order to get templates going, the first thing we need to do is actually get templates going, meaning we have to create a couple of different templates with just what we have here and try to apply them and make sure the abilities and the effects of them actually like work, that sort of thing. And then we need to try and figure out how to actually program their conditions, and basically a lot of this will be a matter of me sitting here typing a whole ton of code and booting up, checking if something's doing something, and then like shutting it down, doing more code, that sort of thing. Basically, the grunt work. I feel like of the two, programming Tails and such is going to be significantly more visually stimulating. But if we get templates going, then that's more interesting gameplay, I feel. Into various oddities that you guys can enjoy. So let me know in chat which of these you'd like to see me doing tonight. Do you want to see me working on templates, or do we just go ham on making Tails? Your choice. And whilst you decide that, I'm going to do and do some squats. Camera's a little different today because I had to recombobulate the whole office essentially from when I was at the beach yesterday, which if you missed, that stream is currently already available to watch entirely on my YouTube channel. Do recommend checking it out. There's some very important and serious topics discussed, both personally and in terms of society, so yeah. Anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Phew. Okay, so far I'm seeing... Nope, this side. 2 votes for Tails. Do I have any for Knuckles? Which I guess is how I'm going to personify these options for the time being. Phew. Personify is more like Sonic vibe, but nonetheless. Phew. I feel like there is a way to do, like, polls inside of... Yes, there is. Okay. Let me try and make this thing. Tails or templates? Duration. Let's put this on for 10 minutes. There we go. I've literally never used that feature, so it's gonna be interesting to see. But there we go. So for the next 10 minutes, you'll get carte blanche to figure out that kind of thing. And I guess meanwhile, I'm gonna try and figure out at least a little bit of templates. Might as well. Yeah, you can do. You've been able to do polls for ages on Twitch. I've just never used them. So there's, you can see in the static there's 4 templates that I've already established that I want to include. So there is Half Dragon, there is Lich, there's Vampire, there is Vampire Spawn, which is... Yeah? Heyo. Sup?
I just had lunch, including my first ever melon pan.
Ooh, how was the melon pan?
Very nice.
Mm. But it's crinkling very distinctly off camera.
Sorry.
Ooh, that good plastic ASMR. Fuzz. Yes, that is the sound of fuzz. That is the sound of Nyan static.
Sorry.
How was it?
Good.
Ooh, I have to check myself.
Not too chewy, not too hard, not too sweet. Hope you enjoy yours.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a delivery from Japan Center recently. Vampire Spawn have many of the same weaknesses as vampires, but not as many of the same huge buffs. Also, I have no earthly idea how or even if I should implement the whole, like, vampires can't cross flowing water thing. Because, like, what do I do there? Do I just, like, actively prevent them from moving into any, like, river biome? Is that how I do that? If so, are rivers just, like, massive barricades now to vampires? Like, feels like a rough thing to do. But anyways, I digress. So here's the vampire template, which of course includes blood drain, summoning rats, bats, and wolves, domination, which is not a thing I have implemented yet, but creating spawn, which just creates bleh, as you can see. Most of the same things, but not all of the same things. I don't know if I implement stakes for everything, but yeah, there's that. And there's a bunch of other things that people will be really interested to see in templates, I think, like lycanthropy. Just saying. All the, like, many different kinds of lycanthropy are, like, template based, that sort of thing. Like, a lot of things in this whole database here are species, as we would classify them, but a bunch are templates. So we would need to actually, like, be a thing, and then do a thing in-game, and then you're that thing. Nick's not here to vote for that? Ah, so that's why it's currently 2-1 for Tails. I see. Oh, this Plain Touch isn't a template, but half Celestial, half Fiend are templates. So you could be a half Celestial Green Dragon, because that's one of the species I've included as writ. Don't know why I decided to do that, but I did. There's a bunch of other templates that'd be fun, like, I think it's Acidborn, or something to that effect. It shows up in complete dungeon or something like that. Or Dungeonscape, that's the like splat book it shows up in. And it's literally just so you can make a acid pool with a shark in it. But it's a template, so you can put onto anything you like. So you can have basically anybody be like immune to acid damage and the like, that sort of thing. Anyways, let's see, default templates, add new template. I don't even recall if that's, yeah, okay, we do need to give it an actual thing here. Do I'm trying to remember, I set this part up like a while after I did this. I'm 100% certain if the syntax is still the same. No, it's just a base class now. It just happens to have a registry name, because we need one to know what the heck it is. Okay. I got about 5 minutes left on the poll, and we are at 3-1 for Tails. Okay. Oh, right, yes, because that's no longer a thing. Let's check the species registry here. Yep, defaults, JSON, get instance. Yep, good, fine. I think most of this is still good, actually. Or at least a decent chunk of this is. Okay, let me grab all of that. This, by the way, is the list of all the like, species I plan to include. So we've got Archfey, which, yep. We've got Aasimar, we've got Creeper, Blue Dragon, Ender Dragon, Green Dragon, Red Dragon, Goblin, Half-Orc, Kobold, Lizard Folk, Orc, Skeleton, Tiefling, Troglodyte, and Zombie. What kind of zombie? I'll leave to your imagination, but it's there. Okay, and that, there. I think most of this is fine. I guess we need to extend from the JSON registry thing. Anyways, I heard a bug recently with the hold breath ability, which I don't know if that's actually in the current available versions of various oddities, but apparently Nipty tried it in the version that's in the Cumblock Home Pack and could not breathe underwater at all. I don't know entirely how that's possible, but I wasn't there to witness it, so who knows? Okay, and that wants to be template. That wants to be template. That doesn't exist yet, but we're working on it. How is that poll doing? Ooh, it's nearly over. It's ticking down, and inexorably down. Since you're just updating code here while we wait for that to pass. The word template now looks wrong. It now looks dramatically as though it has gone awry. Looks like I'm misspelling it every single time. But you know, it's probably good, you know? Okay, think I need that. And that should be default templates instead of species. So if there's nothing there, then add the species. Or add the templates, rather. Don't need that. Keep that one around for the hot minute. That's irrelevant. That's obviously irrelevant. Nope. I keep closing species registry when I actually, like, need it. Here, come on. And it just goes into the reading those. Good, good, good. Okay. I'm trying to think. Will we need speed? Will we need instances? Okay, the winner at 75% is Tails. So I will polish up what we're doing, what I'm doing here with the templates, and we'll switch to various equipment and start doing some Tails. Oh. It also means I need to boot up Glimpse as well as Techni. Just by the by. Okay, what are the exact problems here? Default species cannot be resolved. That's fine. Just return the default there. From JSON and get registry name don't exist. Easily fixed. And from JSON doesn't currently exist either for templates. Let's see, store an MBT, create from MBT, to JSON, from JSON. Most of which is the same for the moment, but yeah. There won't be a visual selection screen for this, so it'll be a matter of using a command to apply the template or doing whatever in-game event causes it to function. We also obviously don't need to know too much about their power or whether they can be selected by players, because the whole idea essentially is that the players do a thing and they get the thing. Okay, that looks about right, but it needs to be a template up here. The ideal, down the road of course, is you can apply templates even to actual non-player creatures. So, at that stage, you'll actually be able to, like, create very custom, like, mobs and bosses and such. So, I still need to work on the AI for using activated abilities, but the passive abilities will work just fine. Creatures want to, like, start flying, but if they swim, they'll get the swimming bonuses and such, and they just won't actively use the extra boost that you get. But I digress. Okay. What tail do I want to start with here? It's a relatively simple thing to add a tail at this stage. I just need to get the texture for it, I just need to get the model for it, and ideally I identify what the default coloring of it should be, and then off it goes, essentially. Doing multi-tone tails, so like with two separate color values, is not currently possible. It's not infeasible, but it would be a lot of work. So, for the time being, that's why I separated wolf and fox, because I figure foxes have the white tip at the end. May I? Thank you. Yeah, foxes have the white tip at the end, whereas wolves, it's a bit more of a uniform grey. So, separate those two, and yeah, our lovely example fox. Here's one I obtained earlier. Okay, let's start with wolf because we have wolves. Wolves are a thing that exists. Technically, so do foxes now. They didn't exist when I started doing this whole thing, but they do now. Okay, so model tail wolf. This is a very, very simple tail. We don't even need segments for this, I think. We're taking our cues here from the actual Minecraft animals. Just for consistency's sake, I guess. Theoretically, we could make them look as complex or distinct as we like, but I like to aim for consistency. I like to aim for, like, the various oddities and various equipment and various family in general kind of looking like things that could exist inside of vanilla Minecraft. Even if my modeling acumen isn't quite that of isn't quite that of the Minecraft devs themselves. Anyways, that is the one piece that we're looking for. Added as a result / workaround for the loss of render with rotation. Interesting. Oh, okay. So there's a root, and then there's the actual tail. Ah, I guess from the shaking. And then the tail itself is set according to... No, the tail itself is just rotated. Interesting. Oh, okay, there we go. There's the... Not sure what that is. Oh, is angry. I see. Whereas otherwise it's going to the limb swing. Currently, the Kirin and the Kobold's tails both have, like, sorts of idle animation to them, the left and right. I don't know 100% if I want to tie that to limb swing amount. So it's like when you're walking forwards, they like swing quite a bit. When you're standing still, they're just like stationary. Will the player tail go up and down to indicate health? I'm not 100% certain if that can work in multiplayer, but it would be entertaining to see. It would definitely be entertaining to see. Wolves do it based on their actual, like... They do it based on a flat value. So if you give them some kind of effect that makes their maximum health go above that value, their tails go even higher up. It's ridiculous. But we can definitely do it as a percentile, which would make it a bit more manageable. Yeah, if you make a like offshoot of the wolf and you give it like double the health, then the tail goes twice as high, and at certain points will wrap around into the body. Because they used a flat value rather than a percentile. I don't know, it was weird. Anyways. Yeah, we should be able to do this pretty easily. So this is more or less the position of every tail, or is where every tail starts. The nub position, I guess you'd call it. So we just need to get rid of that, get rid of that. Here's where the segments are done, but we're not using segments at all for this. It's just a single thing. Which also means we don't really need any of this. That's all fine. Okay. And then just get the actual, like, modeling of this. So let's see, that is 0, 0, negative 1, 2, 8, 2. Wait, hang on. Oh no, those are the offsets. I'm like, hang on, that doesn't make any sense. Let me drag this over here. But yeah, the like wraparound tail problem, I guess you'd call it, was a issue that we had with the wargs early on. Yep, that looks about right. So then in tails, we just create ourselves a new class. We can more or less just grab everything from here. I've already tested it. This should work just fine on servers, so you won't have to worry about that already. If you somehow make a wolf's health go up and down, would the tail just spin? It would reset to a position. Like, it wouldn't rotate, because it's... When a model in Minecraft is rendered, it's not interpolating from an earlier position. It's just set. So there's no, like, if it's here but it needs to be here, there's no blip. It's just bit. So it wouldn't spin, but if you just continually kept increasing their health higher and higher and higher, it certainly would spin. You just give them, like, increasing levels of absorption, I guess. Okay, new tail. So tail, wolf. Give it a distinct name. Give it the right class so it uses the right model. Over in item tags, because these are curios, we actually have to do this as part of the data pack as well. So tails go either to the cosmetic slots or to the back slot. Which I thought that was rather appropriate, so I hope you do too. Okay, so run data. It's not going to have a texture yet. It's not going to have... actually, it might have a texture. Did I remember to, like, tell it wolf texture? Yes, I did. Okay, it won't have a texture. Won't have animation. But also won't have a name or anything, so bleh. But it should nonetheless exist and give us some early sign of whether there's anything wrong. So yeah, what's everyone's thoughts on idle animation on tails? Because tails for wolves and cats and such, and most everything else that has a tail inside of Minecraft, is generally speaking nil. It's tied directly to how they're moving around, if they're moving around. Which isn't necessarily bad, but it gives the sense to me that these are more or less just like when you stuff a tie into your belt's loop kind of thing. It's like it's there, and if I move around, it moves, but it's not really moving. That kind of thing. A little animation would be nice, just because players themselves have a bit of an idle animation, like player arms move a bit. Fair, yeah. I have been very careful to make sure that these tails are in appropriate orientations and such to whatever pose that you're in, because players have what's called a pose, and poses are quite dynamic. So there is standing, there is sneaking, there is sleeping, where for the most part these tails just like go completely up against your back so that they're not just like sticking out of the bed below you. And then there is crawling, also swimming, also fall flying, which, yeah, looks like that in the case of the cobalt tail. Flying, I think, is a separate thing, which is, yeah, let's just give this a test. If you get your dragon tail and it doesn't swish, you're suing. Whomstedov do you sue? But yeah, I've tried to make sure that, did I say sitting yet? I haven't actually tested sitting, come to think of it. I'm not even sure what pose that qualifies as, but let's just get out a minecart here and see how this looks. Yeah, I think that's, because that's, the way that the poses are coded up inside of the model basically means that here it's just like taking the same as standing. So, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's have a look with the Kirin tail. You can, because of the multiple cosmetic slots, you can have multiple tails, but it looks really weird. It looks very weird. Let's see, there's the kobold. Yeah, there we go. Looks good enough, I think. I think that fits. Whilst we sits. I've also made it so that, at least in the case of the kobold and the Kirin tail, when you are sneaking, the amount of like idle animation to it as it's going back and forth there is significantly reduced. So there's maybe a chance that nobody will spot it. If you're trying to be stealthy. But I will say, in the like case of a in the case of like a PvP scenario, if you're trying to be very like stealthy and cautious and discreet, maybe don't bring a tail or don't have your tail on display, because it increases how far you can see behind me by like a block. Like, look at that. It's like a full block in length behind me here. So, just saying, it might give you away just a bit. It doesn't increase your actual model size, because that would cause all manner of problems. But, yeah. Just putting that out there. I suppose the theoretical ideal for, like, tails actually being part of your body as opposed to just something that's rendered would be to add a hitbox to them, one or more, so people could actually attack the tail. That kind of thing. But, anyways. Let's check our wolf tail, shall we? So, there we are. Because this is not going to have a model yet, it's going to be a huge cube, like so. Okay, so... There's our cool tail, there we are. Let's see. Well, that's certainly there. It looks a little bit more like I've had an accident, but, you know, we're gonna work on it. Okay, yep, good. It is doing an level of animation there, but not a lot. Okay, good. Alright, animation. Let's get that done. So where model wolf? Oh yes, wolf model. Okay, so there's the angle Y. We take that as being like our standing. This what does that refer to? Whether they're angry. Okay. I can't detect whether you would be angry at the given moment, so we're just gonna presume that it's always this by default. Can I just... No, I don't want that. Okay. A little bit off-center. Yes, the modeling for the wolf is not magnificent. So, that should shove it to the right a bit and it'll be fine. Okay. Next up, the angles of the tail when it is... when it's like in our different poses. So yeah, here's where it got set to just being the standing one whilst we were inside of the minecart. Is there a sitting pose? There is not. Interesting. I wonder if that's calculated in biped model. Minecraft 119, we centered the wolf tail. Ah, imagine. Okay, there's arm poses, and we're looking for the legs. Just to find out exactly how it, does, like, presumably it checks if you're mounted on something. And then changes the orientations of your leg. Presumably. Is swimming, is flying... Not seeing... Ah, is sitting. Okay, so they have a value for is sitting, but they don't actually... That's interesting, they don't actually have a pose for it. Sitting isn't its own pose. So technically speaking, whilst you're sitting, you're standing. Okay then. Why not, I guess? I'm guessing that's set based on whether you're mounted to anything. Yeah, is passenger or is riding entity, should ride or sit, yeah. Okay then. That's mostly weird because of how many poses there already are. There's a pose for dying, which is just standing but rotated to the left. So I don't even know what the animation for spin attack is. I presume that's related to tridents. But I have a feeling this and the wolf tail thing is weird because they were added way early on. correct, but it's a thing that should have been updated like 18 different times by now. It's very strange. Very odd choice. Anyways. So the tail has rotate angle X as well, which... Yep, there we go. Which apparently in rotation angles is just the age, which would absolutely make it spin. So I don't know why they've done that. But okay. Shake angle. Where F is partial takes, previous time shaking. Yep, that's not relevant to us. I'm looking for the part where their health gets involved. If they're sleeping, then that's... Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if their tail isn't actually animated to do that anymore. But the only way for me to test this would be... inhumane. Suffice to say. Well, we can implement it anyways. Just saying. Okay. So for standard, we'll say 45. For crouching, we'll say 60. So it's a little further up. For full flying, I think 20, we'll say. Which is also when you're in crawl mode and such. For sleeping, we're gonna say 90. Which is basically, you're on top of it entirely. Okay. Let's see how it looks. Real quick, before I take the break. Because the way this is implemented, by the way, the tail is already actually dyeable, so you can have whatever color you like. As long as you can get the dyes for it. Lord knows I've had to go very far to find a rose at times. So once we've done wolf, we'll do cat, and then we'll look at... Is the dyeing for your items like dyeing for armor? It is in fact exactly like dyeing with armor. So for instance, these Kirin horns are not yellow or orange, they're actually the combo of both. In fact, I did not write the dyeing code for these. That is actually vanilla code. Okay, so how's the tail looking? Right, it's looking okay. And if we walk, I'm glad it's got the right. I'm very glad that this has rendered on the correct front of me, because it would be a little weird otherwise. I feel like it should maybe be a bit. I feel like this needs to be lifted up a bit because it looks like it's just coming straight out of my butt. Like. I think it is technically attached to the correct part of me, but I feel like it needs to be a little bit higher. Which thankfully we can do quite easily. Anyways, we'll do that in about 10 minutes when I come back from my break. So go grab yourselves a snack, have your meds, that kind of thing, and I'll see you very soon. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, nice little break there. So just before we went out to break, we were testing out the newly added Wolftail cosmetic and discovered that it was, whilst accurate for wolves, not necessarily as appropriate a visual on players. So we have elevated it just slightly, and hopefully that fixes that issue. It looked like it was definitely attached to something of your butt, but maybe not necessarily the actual butt part. I don't know, I'm still... I think it works for the most part. If we sprint... If we could feel... I think sprinting is like actually synchronized client side, so we might be able to actually have it stick straight up. More like that. Tails aren't normally attached to your butt. Technically speaking, they're attached to the coccyx, which is part of the pelvis, which is indeed, most commonly for humans at least, considered to be part of the butt. They're like right above. Yeah, they're at the very top of your pelvis. More or less what we consider to be the butt. But yeah, tell me, what do we think here? I can't really give you a third person. I think it needs to be maybe higher when you're moving. If we can identify that at the very least. I think it's mostly fine. Let's have a check of it whilst we're in the crawling / swimming pose. That looks good to me, I think. And let's also check flying. The major scenarios of Minecraft player kind of view. Oh, it is going. It is really going there. Apparently Minecraft players just really really enjoy flight, I guess. Happy puppers. I mean, accurate, honestly. We really do enjoy, like, elytra flights to the point where we become heavily dependent upon it. Yeah, I do like that. I think that angle is good for sneaking. But I think we need to maybe have it be a bit higher for standing, which is easily done. Easily done. Just make it like that. Like 45 degrees. Give or take. Sleeping. A little hard to show that off, but yeah. Full flying is the one we just checked. I think that's probably all good. So okay, on to textures then. Alright, so all tails originate in the same thing here, which is biped model, which is a 64 by 32. So let's just grab one of the texture files here. Tail wolf. Okay. And let me also grab the actual texture for wolves. I think wolves are more or less black and white for the most part to begin with, so we shouldn't have to do very much with them. I don't think their tail really changes much either. Did see a request for making them floofier. I think we'll mostly reserve that for the fox at the moment. You can of course recolor the foxtail to be whatever you like, it'll just have a white tail at the end. A white tip all the time. Where's Glimpse? But yeah, we want to keep, like, if you're putting on wolf ears and a wolf tail, we want to look like the Minecraft wolf. Like, that should be the expectation, that you put on the things named after a thing that exists in the wild of Minecraft, then it should resemble the thing that you're thinking of. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be doing much changing, at least in these ones. The other ones, we can do quite a bit of changing, however much we like. But for these ones, I think we'll stick it as is. Okay. That, I think that's the tail, right there. Let's see what the actual coordinates are in Wolf Model. It'd be part of Tail Child, because that's where everything is. 918. Which, yep, is this chunk right here. Bit of an exorbitant texture file for this, but it's fine. We could reduce it drastically, but and yeah, is there really any color to get rid of there? There's like a very, very slight hint of red, I think. Like, they're so close to just being identical. It's like a slight touch of brown. But I think that's close enough to a full grayscale that we can keep it. Okay, so now we should actually have texture on this thing. Easy as that. Yeah, maybe it's just because I've been, like, modeling Minecraft mobs and such for literal years at this point. But a lot of the vanilla models feel very shoddy. It's the only way I can put it. Like, the best way I can describe it is it feels like seeing an amateur's work. And it's like, yeah, it works, but you did it in such a weird and terrible and inefficient way. Okay, let me get some wolf ears as well, just to complete the look. Okay, it is I, Rover. Just to remake Minecraft. Oh, I'd be here so long. I'd be here so long. Okay. How does that look? That looks better, I think. It could maybe stand to still be a bit higher, but I think that does look a lot better. Yeah, maybe lift that up a little bit more. Just a smidge. And let's also try dyeing it. So let's see if I can't make, like, golden retriever colors. Oh yes, if you just put wolf ears into crafting tables, then you can get cat ears, and vice versa. Just because they were sufficiently, like, minimalist and simple that I figured these are probably interchangeable. People will probably appreciate being able to do that. Okay, and wolf tail. There we go. I am now essentially a golden retriever. It's me, Sassy Tail, Tumblr. Tumblr user Sassy Tail. Next up, we're making Garfield. Okay, let me add some lang real quick. Just so it knows what to call these things. You can't start being one of the, you can't start being one of those, ugh, I love golden retriever boys people. now you get to play. Now you can actually cosplay as a well, as a cheap furry. I gotta say, it's like very much like couldn't afford a full fursuit, but could at least afford like some accessories. Like at a convention. Really cheap, like, Halloween frat boy costume, I guess. Golden Retriever. Like, you've got that option now. None of those textures exist, but at least it'll stop the thing complaining a bit. Elementary school Halloween costume. Yeah, like for like really young kind of play. Okay, let's take that off our list. Let's mark that as done. Let's get cat, and we should hopefully have enough time to get to fox. And no, probably not like the entirety of that, but a start. Okay, that model doesn't exist, so of course it's gonna have an issue. I did say, like early on when I was making the horns, that I liked the idea of them being combinatorial. That you could just like plug them together in any combination and you get them. Like before I made the Kirin horns an actual legit item that's like a combination of ram and deer horns. Now with the different cosmetics and the fact that you can still wear them in other slots besides the cosmetics, boy does it look real fun. Like there's so much variety to be had now, it's lovely. If you take two cat tails and combine them, should you get the back in Echo tail, I guess? That makes sense to me. You might not know you can do it, but... there's some child in the very far distance that is probably way outside of my, my microphone's range here. Having a bad time by the sounds of it. Could I imagine? I wonder if I can write a thing to, like, equip baubles based on, like, dispenser. Like how armor works. Oh, that's an entertaining notion. Also, I keep calling them baubles. In 116 they are officially referred to as curios. It's a whole different mod. But it is effectively the exact same behavior as baubles, but dialed up to 11. Like, baubles in 112 look like... They look like papier-mâché compared to curios, honestly. Curios is like a full-blown industrial application of the things. It's wonderful. Okay. So, tail, cat, and we're going to need ocelot model. There is a cat model, but it's actually just an extension, more or less duplicate of ocelot model. Okay. Ocelots have a two-part tail, which basically means we're getting into the segments again. The way you say baubles is great. That's... Is there another way to say baubles? Baubles? Babbles? Bubbles. Like, how should I be pronouncing baubles, exactly? You pronounce how I say you pronounce the word baubles the way I do, but with an American accent. Gotcha. So wrong. Okay, so, ooh, oh no, oh Minecraft, no, why, oh. Oh no. Okay, anybody here remember how much I utterly hate the horse code? Or how the horse code used to be, at least before they revised the model entirely. Because they don't parent anything? There are two parts to the tail, and they're not actually connected to one another. Oh. Yeah, the rotation point has to be moved a whole ton. Oh no. For those, like, if you're not heavily into... That's actually kind of evident in some of his animations. Yeah, probably. Let me see if I can give, like, a non-programmer, non-kind of, like, animator kind of explanation of why this is horrifying. Imagine that a wrecking ball was not actually attached to its chain. And the only way to make it appear to be attached to its chain was to deliberately move it to the end of the chain every fraction of every second. Check cat, maybe they fixed it. I don't think so. There's not even a reference to the... there's a little bit of a reference. Only in the animation code, though. It's not parented in here, either. Like, imagine you're trying to film a wrecking ball being swung, but you don't actually have a wrecking ball attached to the chain. So you have to just place... you have to move the wrecking ball to the end of the chain every frame of your video. That's what this is like. Rather than just attaching it and swinging. Oh dear. Oh, you poor cats. Okay. That means I have to break out Techne, actually. Because now I'm gonna need to know what the, like, how this works out in terms of sizing. Boy. Let's see, let's get ourselves a bipedal. There we go. Sorry, what bridge? Elastic Man? Wait, maybe it heard me talking about stuff and thought I was, like, referring to Stretch Armstrong or something, I don't know. Okay. Tail 1. Let's see, it's 15, 8. That's because cat's really small. So for us, we're gonna move it to about... let's say 9.5. And it is a 181. It's a very thin tail, so negative 0.5, negative 0.5. Okay. On the the banner ad at the top. Oh. Yeah, I've been seeing those in a bunch of places. I have no idea. Nor do I necessarily wish to find out. Okay, tail 2. Which needs to be connected to that, which means it needs to have a vertical offset on the position of 8. In order to be there, at the end of it. Now, hang on, let me just remove the extraneous limbs here. There we go. So that would be 17.5 total to have it down here. And it is also 8 long. Okay. Right. Straight forwards. Okay, so there's our model. We are probably going to have to program our angles entirely by hand because they're idiots, apparently. I don't want to be too harsh. Maybe they have some reasoning for why they've done this. But heck if I know what it is. Because this is bad. This is bad stuff. Jeez. Okay. 10.5, you want 1.8. Okay. This dot tail 2. Set your rotation point to 0, 8, 0, which moves it to, which once you parent it at least, we'll move it to the bottom of the end of the tail. Oh wait, no, it should be 4, 0, not 0, 4. Okay, and then tail, add child, tail 2. Okay. Rotation angle X, which is the up and down, is default 0.9. That's radians. 0.9 radians to degrees. I'm not 100% certain what that is. That is, to be exact, 51.5662. What block or what kind of block are we doing? We are currently building cosmetic baubles. In this particular case, a cat tail. We've already got a kobold tail, we've got a Kirin tail, and we've just done a wolf tail, so we're doing cats now. Quite why they went for precisely 51 degrees, I don't know, but they did. Just gonna go with that. Why not for the time being? 0.9f. Okay. Exact angle, I guess, yeah. Okay. We've added that into the list of items. We haven't run the data just yet. Let's do that. It's the thing that tells it what slots it can actually go in. We have got the model, we got the lang. That part should all be good. Okay, all done. Refresh that, and boot. Let's see how this looks. Again, we'll not have a texture just yet, but I'm gonna try and get the animation done first. Should already be dyeable, but there's not much point in dyeing something that has no texture. Like, I'm going to keep mentioning that things are dyeable, but for the record, literally all horns and tails are dyeable because they all use this interface. I don't have to touch anything; it's just dyeable by default. Which I have to say, to the Minecraft devs' credit, is gorgeous. Being able to do that is just lovely. I don't have to faff around and implement it for every single thing. That's just part of an interface, and the recipe generator just detects it. Beautiful. Okay. So, research cat. Here we go. Got cat ears, cat tail. Might as well look the part while we're doing this. Okay. I might have touched the wrong part with that rotation. Oh yes, the Y. That'd be Y, literally. But okay, we have a long thin tail here. That's a start, and it doesn't look like it's coming out of my butthole, so that's good. A good start. So let's have a look at cats. I suspect that that angle and that angle are not the same. Let's see how those are actually given. So Ocelot tail 2, rotate angle X. State? This dot what? What is that value? Where does that come from? That's part of Ocelot model. Okay, is that just set by the renderer then? That presumably refers to a pose. So if they're crouching, state equals 0. If they're sprinting, state equals 2. Otherwise, state equals... That is a pose! Okay. It's crouching, sprinting, or just standing here, bro. Why not just use... It's fine. Okay, so we're mostly just interested in the 1 values for Ocelot model then. Okay. Why is this not a state? Why is this not a switch then? Why is this a series of ifs? Oh boy. Okay, there's what we're looking for. I think that's the angle. Now we have to remember this angle, because this isn't parented to the other part of the tail, is going to be wholesale. Like this will be the net value as opposed to the gross. By which I mean this angle includes the angle of the earlier one, rather than just having it verbatim. So we actually need to subtract 0.9 from this. Wait, so if state doesn't equal 3, so in here it cannot be 3. If it equals 2, then that's... If it doesn't equal 3, but it doesn't equal 2, then it must be in here. Just... weird way to go about this, but okay. Bring up the calculator here, because that is a long number and I don't want to hiccup. That's gonna be some over weirdly specific value of degrees, I'm sure. Yeah, it's a very similar number, but it's not the same one. Okay. Right. Does the other part not move? Surely the other part moves. Rotation point movement, rotation angle set to 0.9. If they're crouching, it moves the... Okay, if they're crouching, it does another thing. It alters it. If they're sprinting, it does a different... If they're sprinting, it does the same thing. That is the exact same... Why even bother having this code in here if either one of these conditions will do the exact same thing? Why? Wait. It's gonna be one of those nights, I see. Okay. Because Minecraft. Yeah, I guess. Okay, set it there, and then in crouching, we can change it. Because that's the only condition there that changes this, so... Oh boy. Pi to... I'm not 100% certain what that works out to in degrees. Okay, let's see what happens. The cattails will stop motion animation. Yeah, essentially. Like, every single frame, every single FPS point you get, there are generally a few more than that, but nonetheless, everything has to be rendered. And in order to imply motion, everything has to be rendered according to time, as well as calculation, and if you have to calculate something that is attached to something else, you effectively have to use math to figure out where that attachment point is every single frame, and then apply all of your rotations to it, and it's just so much easier to parent things. There's efficiency, and then there is actually being, like, human usable. It's just... oh boy. Clunky, clunky, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, there's our tail. Did I give that animation to the correct thing? Is that... do cattails bounce when they're walking? Can anyone tell? That is the right angle, though. That looks good. I like that. That does look good. Hang on, let me just get a cat. That feels like the obvious thing. Move. Move, Nyan. Yeah, they bounce up and down. Huh. I never knew that. Meow. 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 Okay, sneaking I think is perfect. I never knew their tails bounced. Huh. Well, also that is a Calico cat. Calico is a game on Steam, made by a friend of mine that you can absolutely go check out. It's very fun. You live in a fantastical realm and you take care of a cat cafe. It's gorgeous. It's very cute. Anyways, I digress. I feel like it might be a bit too much bouncing for, like, player motion. But that is good. So to fix that, we would just essentially half this. I'm not gonna go in through the whole thing of that and just bleh. But okay. Next we need to test is how it looks when we are in crouch mode or flying. And I'm gonna presume that it's fine there. Let me also do this. So you just have the whole thing fold in on itself. There. Build to wiggle for walk and run. Yeah, exactly. My concern. But the standing angle's fine. We worked out what the... yeah, that is... wow, that is actually really damn close to what it started out as. It's... the cats have it at 51.5-ish degrees. Here we have it at 50. That's why it looks so so fine. Huh. Just that is as specific as we need it to be. By the way, the reason I have to go through and set that is because the models use radians, and radians are good mathematically, but they're not the most human-friendly thing when you're developing. So I use degrees, because everybody knows degrees. Degrees are like 0, 90, 45, like going all the way around, 360. Everyone gets that. That is very much a, like, me usability thing, but yeah. Okay. We'll take these as good then. By the way, what this means is essentially that when you are sleeping, your cat tail will firstly be like straight up, and the other part straight back down. So basically, you'll just fold away, which is entertaining. Because otherwise, I suspect expect that this being fully up would actually, like, poke out your head. Actually, that might be a problem for the Kirin tail as well, come to think of it. It's fine. I can't change your entire sleeping model based on your tail. I could, but it would take a lot of time, so we won't do that. Okay, let's get the texture. Nice, the third eye is in here from the Kirin Patron in 112. We haven't implemented that, but it's on the plan list. Okay. Ocelot. Ocelot is under cat. Did you know that Minecraft cats? Well, did you know that Minecraft ocelots used to be referred to as cats? It's true. I saw it on YouTube once. Okay, that looks to be the texturing we're looking for. This will be an ocelot tail if we use this. Do we want... If I go for a different kind of cat, we'll have different kinds of tail. I guess the question is, do we want any kind of texturing to it, or do we want it to always kind of resemble an ocelot, or should it resemble, like... Hey, Art. How you doing? Welcome, surprisingly, to some art real quick. Like, I guess I could have different data values, but that's an extra thing I have to program. And also, how do you get them? Is the next question. Cats have good tails? They do. Can I ask the Discord and go with the most popular choice? I guess, but that could take a while. And I'm currently on stream as we speak. Okay. Let's just get this in and see how it looks. For the moment. I bet most would say striped. There's also a problem of much as with the wolf versus fox tails, we only have one color that we can actually change. Because putting in multiple colors, multiple distinct colors into an item is prohibitively time consuming to program. And that also messes things up with, like, the user friendliness, because everyone knows how to dye armor. Okay, how do you say, I'm going to change a different color part of this item now and not the one that I've been habitually using, that sort of thing. So consequently, if we choose like calico, calicos have like 3 different colors to them. That's potentially 3 different colors showing up on the tail, so all of them are now one color. But okay, there we have it. Meow. Meow. I'm enjoying that way too much. Okay. That looks pretty good. Down here, okay. And let's test it flying as well. I don't think I need that anymore. Testing now. That's a little funky, but I kind of like it. It's like it's just sort of flapping in the wind a little bit. Meow. Isn't my persona a blue cat? No! That's not my persona. I was tasked to draw a persona, and it was a matter of, like... Bearing in mind, this was like when I was in university. This is like 10 years ago. Like, my standard thing when I went to like my university's anime club, where they gave that like challenge, was I would wear a hat, and that particular hat was like blue and had like ears with like black tips. It's actually not too far from me right now, actually. But it's like, okay, I go to this anime society every week wearing this hat What do you think that, like, a theoretical persona would look like? Well, Does the ocelot tail wag when you walk like a cat tail? It'd go up and it'd go down. It doesn't go left and right. At least according to Minecraft cats. Okay. Let's real quick grab that color, because once we deprive this of all color information, the item will just be a white and grey kind of tail. So I added a feature to both horns and tails, which is we can have each individual type of tail to set a distinct default color when there isn't one given to it. And to get that, I need to take that hex code and change it into a decimal, because that's what Minecraft uses. In this case, it is a number, that's for sure. Okay. So, very simple here. I'm not going to go through any hugely complex process for it. There we go. We might tweak this depending on how that looks in-game with this default color. But okay. Glad this didn't turn out to be as massive a headache as I anticipated it would. Okay, so the catters that we're wearing are similarly drawn from the ocelot texture. They don't have a color, so they have a default color in play. Same with the tail that we're wearing. So let's see how it looks. Looks pretty fine to me. What do we think? It's a little hard to get a side profile when you're in single player here, but unfortunately players are the only things that have curio slots, so I can't just give them to somebody else. How does that sit with the, but how the tails interact with the elytra is a disaster, but not one I can easily fix. Okay, and let's see what's a good dye here. I guess gray. Oh right, yes, this is American spelling. Why do Americans suck at spelling so much? Ugh. There we go. There's a dark grey tail. If you want to play a mackerel tabby, for instance. Okay, I think that's it. Do I not have my Minecraft on the British language thing? I mean, not here. This is just a junk default Minecraft thing, so... Let me see. Language. English. US. Anglish. Foreign... That's a lot more forms of English than I thought existed, actually. I shouldn't be too surprised, but... Okay. I've never even heard of Foreign Head Kingdom. Is that meant to be like a joke? I don't know. There we go. Now we are speaking the Queen's English. Okay, got a couple more tails to put here real quick. So, wolf, cat, and a couple of pieces of cyan dye because these are meant to be dyeable. So that's how I show off that these are dyeable here. And as said, if you just stick them in here, then they'll cross over. Actually, wait, no, that's the ears will do that. Maybe I should wolf and cattails be interchangeable? I don't know. It's a question, though. It's definitely a question. Well, now it matches my shirt. To keep consistent, yes. Yeah. I don't know what breed of cat has Steve's shirt color fur, but apparently we've allowed for it to exist. Okay. Minecraft Steve cat breed. God, it's like the resource bees and such, but it's like resource cats, and one of them's just like Steve cat or something. Okay, let me add that recipe then. Recipe. Tail, wolf. Replace basically all instances of ears with tail. A Javanese blue. That makes a disturbing amount of sense, actually. Okay, there we go. There's the recipe. Do I want to do Bakeneko next, now that we have the cattail, or do we want to do fox? Bearing in mind we have like 1 hour left in stream, so whatever we pick is probably the last thing we do tonight. Apparently English seeks to rid English of the French and Latin words that came by way of the Norman overthrow of 1066, so we say things like hearty instead of cordial, and word book instead of dictionary. Okay, well, tell you what, since we've discovered the power of a pole... God, imagine this being a democracy. Okay, so... Bakeneko? Fox. And duration 10 minutes, so when this poll is done, I'll be back from my last break of the evening, and we'll get to work on whatever the poll decides. There you go, everybody. Either way, I don't think we'll necessarily have time to do the actual, like, full stacking, but we can make the basics of it. Cat is definitely English. I could probably condense this even more, but I'd be running into, like, server issues. If you need, like, an actual Minecraft model of a dragon tail, you made one yourself. Like in Techni or in something else, Dusty? Auf Deutsch it's Katze. Yeah, fair. Anyways, I'll be back in about 10 minutes to see the answer of that poll. Go grab yourself, like, a snack or anything. Go have fun. See ya. Welcome back, everybody. And I did see the vote for whether we add this tail as well. Not today, but probably in future, because God knows I would use it. That is the changelings from the 1.12 version of Various Oddities. That is the disguise for the patron witch, to be specific, because that is what the witch's changeling appearance looks like, whereas the Broodbringers, who initially used the same model, have a different look to them. Can I find where in the hecky that went? Possibly. Let's look. There we are. There's the Broodbringer. Yeah, very similar, but has an ovipositor instead of a tail, exactly. So, yeah. But, anyways, the poll is out, and y'all want to see foxes. I can't much blame you, but y'all want to see foxes, so... Foxes are a little bit more troublesome, because we kind of have to render it with two different textures, but that's fine, we can figure that out. That will not be very difficult. The reason we have to render them with two textures is because, unlike my recollection of the fox model, they actually have a single cube for their tails. This might cause us problems when we try to move to, like Nibi no Kitsune, like Jubi no Kitsune, that kind of thing. Multiple tails, is what I'm saying. It might just become a bit of a mess, but we'll see. For right now, let's work on getting just the one tail, actually. Okay, so it won't start with having anything actually like coloring, but that's fine. Where's the wolf one? That would be probably the closest to what we need here. So unlike the wolf, this one's a much thicker tail, and it will have an ending which is always the same color regardless of what you dye it. You can debate for yourselves whether that fits your particular, like, character, I guess, better, but, yeah. Tail, there's tail. Okay. So let's... Because this is a single piece, we don't need to worry too much about it behaving weirdly, in short. So let's see, that is... +2. Interesting choice. And a -1. Let's see, 4, 9, and 5. Am I reading that right? 2, -1, yes. 4, 9, and 5. Interesting. That is a wide tail. Or a deep tail, actually. Let's have a look at foxes. 1 second. Make sure I'm not doing this really weirdly. Yeah, 4... Yeah, it is a 4x5. Interesting. Huh. I would have thought that it would have been a regular rectangular prism. I'm trying to think what the word is there. A square prism? But no, it is actually taller than it is wide. Huh. Neat. Is that a feature I want to keep, is the next question for me. It's gonna be a very bushy tail. Dear lord. I'm trying to imagine like 9 of these on somebody now. Like that is a chunk right there. Let me just put that at like 45 here. Like imagine that, but multiplied by 9. That's gonna be a lot of tail. It's gonna be a lot of tail. Okay. Let's do it, though. Like one of the larger tails we have. For the sake of at least right now, I'm gonna make it a square prism or whatever we decide that shape is called. Okay, and how's the animation? Negative 0. Weird angle. Okay. If they're sleeping, don't care. If they're crouching, does not get changed. If they're sitting, then yeah. Otherwise, it's just always this angle. Apparently. Only gets changed if they are sleeping or sitting, which in our case is relatively, like, irrelevant. Okay, what is that in degrees? Let's see, negative 0.05235988 is minus 3 degrees. Really? Really? Or so damn near close that I'm not sure why they didn't just use 3 degrees. Actually, honestly, that's close enough to 0. I'm surprised they didn't use 0. Okay. So this will just render the one texture. And that one texture will be missing, but nonetheless. Oh, I didn't register this as an item, nor in the item tags, did I? Let's fix that. So we actually won't be able to do anything with it. It won't register as anything. By the way, just I did see that effort of a dragon tail. Let me actually pull that up. Pull that image up for us so we can see it. Okay. I have some design notes, all in good nature, I promise. Presuming that this is a tail which has been dyed black. How do we have colors on the opposite side, on the near opposite side of the color spectrum? Like, I'm not like, will we treat these spines as being a separate texture, much like the white end of the fox tail, or would that be like, if this tail, for instance, was dyed green, would those be bright green? Not 100% certain how this comes across in texturing, based on the fact that we need to allow for these tails being dyed. But other than that, this is pretty good. I do like it. Could stand in very nicely for a dinosaur tail as well. Anyways, we've got that into the items now. We've got this into the item tags, so we just run data again. And it'll add itself quite happily. What are we missing over here, exactly? Or what are we importing uselessly? Math helper. Okay, all done. Reboot. Just refresh the resources so they know they're there. Rather appropriate, we just got finished doing cats, and now we have a song called Catnap playing. Just having the little spikes be a lighter version of the dyed color would be the best way to go. Yeah. Oh, the trick is accomplishing that, because if you've got jet black for the majority of the tail. That is presumably the, like, the brightest point of the texture is the most of the color, essentially. So if it's darker, and it wouldn't, it's, I'm not 100% certain how it would work out is the thing. But thank you for the help there. Okay, Foxtail. Okay, so there is one tail. Let's see. It doesn't. Like in the actual foxes, it has basically no animation that we care about, anyways. Very simple by that nature. And maybe I should have started with this thing. Do we want this to have some animation though? Because compared to the other tails, it does feel a bit lifeless. And I get why it is, but I don't know. I don't know. Let's see, is there anything I'm missing here? No, it curls around them, and it rotates when they, like, when they're sitting, but it otherwise is perfectly stationary. It just stays at this one angle. Needs wiggle? Go swoosh? Yeah, I think so. I think so too. Let's add some swoosh to our tail here. Why do I have a rotate angle? Why here? I don't remember. Oh, X. X is where it's like 3 degrees. That was it. But that would be pointing directly down, essentially. So that's actually irrelevant. Let's get... Let's see. From model tail wolf. Because foxes are canids. So that feels like the obvious place to look. We're gonna downplay it considerably here, but... let's add a little wiggle. And then we actually do need to do the texture because I need to make sure that part works. That's gonna be the more complex part of the fox one. Like the Kirin horns, for instance, actually don't have a model. They don't have a texture, they don't have a model, and nor is one rendered. What they actually do is they render the antlers from the deers and the ram horns simultaneously. Because why write the same code twice when you can just use it from the first time? So we need to do some special rendering for the foxes. And that's just to get this one, like, for every tail. This is going to be interesting. I feel like this could very easily stand in for a raccoon, honestly. Okay, so there is... Little Wiggle. What do we think? How's that look? Like, especially given like the sizing and how it sits, I think this could also stand in quite nicely for a raccoon tail. Raccoons have a very different kind of fur pattern, but you know, all you need is a resource pack for that. Okay, let's get a texture together so we can start to see what this actually should look like. And we'll do ourselves a little bit of... Oh, that's interesting, they have a different texture. I guess they'd need a different texture. But why for all of the whole thing? You know, let's grab it from the snow fox because that'll save us some bother later. Is that the right size? 48 by 32 needs to be 64. But that's fine, we can resize it in here. Oh, actually, no. Come to think of it, actually using the red fox will be better because we'll actually know where the white is. Just thought of that. Okay. Oh, of course. Just get rid of that. Thank you very much. Okay, so there's the full tail, but we want to keep this white end. In as much as we can, at least. It's probably going to require a little bit of mischief, but hey, it's a fox, what do we expect? Okay. See how that looks. That's where we'll be now. Okay, red. Yeah, if you just like made it like a brownish color, I guess. Or grayish color, depending on like what kind of where your specific raccoon is from, I guess. But yeah, raccoons have like a ring kind of tail, like that. But it's bushy and it's big, so little bit of texturing work, and you can get the whole thing working. What kind of what's the style of fox ears in Minecraft? Out of quick curiosity. Sides. Okay, so closer to the wolf ears then. Just, you know, so I have a slightly more. There we go. Okay. Oh, and that is... Right, yep, I know why that's weird. I know what's going on there. Is there a default color up here that's just... Yeah, it's just white. Okay, that's fine. That's good. Tail fox. 0, yes, good. But I'm guessing your dimensions are wrong here. 64, 32 sounds right. Yep. Okay. So what's going on with the texture then? Ah, right, of course. The texture is for a 495 and we only have a 494. So we need to like remove a pixel, basically. Do I want to remove a pixel though? Yeah, let's put it at that. Why not? Why not? We'll have the deep ones. Your own torso is only like 5, but sure, we'll have it be slightly deeper. That'll fix that up. Next question, why did it look slightly yellow? That's the part I'm not so clear on. Okay, close that, close that. Definitely close that right now, that's not relevant. Okay. Yeah, it should just be white, which should just be the exact color that it was. Very odd. Very odd indeed. Just adding those there real quick. Okay, yeah, it's turned mildly yellow. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. Still, how do I look? What do we think? Do we think I fit at least some proximity of fox? Okay. Grand. Now the hard part. Oh, because there's a default texture here from the cats. That's why. That's why it's that. Okay. Okay, well, we want to do the exact... Now, let's see, if the model's already been rotated, that should be fine, so we just need to get the vertex builder. This should be... We should add fox ears on the side so we can cosplay the witch. Okay, 1F, 1F, 1F. Let's make those capitalized for consistency. That, I think, should make this whole thing work just fine. But just in case, let's clone the whole thing. There. But this time, we give it overlay texture. Okay. Which it will not find. So yeah. Let's duplicate our foxtail. Okay. Drop that in there. Undo. Open recents. This is the fastest way I know to get something in there without navigating. Okay. So the overlay is just the white portion. Our little tip. And let's desaturate that to get rid of the white. Don't think it matters dreadfully, but that'll do quite nicely. Okay, and then this part, exact opposite, essentially. Why is that off center? Ugh, such a pain. There we go. Okay. Bright and wait. And this is the exact opposite direction I need to be going. Whoops. I was just about to replicate purely the end tail part. Okay. Perfect. And let's desaturate that. Well, actually, let's get the color first, which is probably that. For our default. See, that is 21. We're getting the exact hex values purely because we want these things to look like the things in vanilla Minecraft, and that's a little difficult if you don't actually know what the color is. There. Okay, refresh the resources. That, okay, like, to quickly explain what's happening. We call the super, which renders the tail normally, including whatever color is in the item. Then we render the we render the model again with the exact same orientations, but we use a different texture and we don't color it. So this is always going to be present at the exact same color, whereas this will actually be a different color. That's the plan, anyways. Might have to tweak the luminance of that a bit, just to get it right, but should be good. Okay. Run. Although, on the note of cosplaying the witch, various equipment already includes the magician's hat, I think it's called, and that is the exact model from the patron witch, by the way. And because of now how that is a helmet item, not a bauble, not a cosmetic. But now that you have 4 different cosmetic slots, you can actually have ears on top of your head whilst you've got the hat on. I think it might disguise them a fair bit, though, given the size, but yeah. Okay, let's go. Okay, yeah, the color does need some fixing up. So the darker it is, the more grey or black it is, the less of the color it has. But the brighter it is, the more of the color it has. That's the way that this tinting process works. But yeah, that is working perfectly, because otherwise this white tip there, hang on, this white tip would actually be bright orange right about now. So there we go. Wouldn't be accurate to their, it wouldn't be accurate to their current form now, would it? Well, look, there's only so much I can do, okay? Unless I want to go deep into how rendering works, that's the best I can do. Okay, let's bring this up a bit. If we need to do that much, we also just need to make it brighter. Now there. Okay. The great thing about doing textures and such is that once you've gotten the actual like basics down, once all the hard parts of doing that is down, then yeah, you can just reload. It's beautiful. Didn't used to be able to do that. There we go. That's a much brighter tail. So yeah, essentially your luminance value is your saturation of the color. That's the easiest way to describe it. Hooray! Okay, and we should be able to dye that. Because it doesn't have one yet, so now it does, and it should essentially be... There we go. Arctic Fox. Perfect. Okay. Let's now actually figure out how we have multiple. How do we have multiple tails? Oh boy. Hey Zen. Welcome to basically the end of the stream. Okay, grand. We have a multi-texture tail. How goes the thing? We have added 3 new tail cosmetics to various equipment. In addition to the 2 existing ones that I had, as well as the 2 forms of ears. Which can be mixed and matched however you like. Okay, so we have Fox, but it's not currently stackable. How the dickery do we do stackable tails? Well, the first part is we need to actually have a tail for every potential number of tails that we have. So we need 9 different tails, and we just need to only render specific numbers of them, essentially. For that, we basically need an array. So we just generate a whole ton of tails, and we animate them, but we only have like a number of them that are actually visible. Because every model renderer can individually be told to not render. With the size of this tail, I'm not 100% certain how this is going to look. But I guess we'll find out, won't we? I also need to figure out what arrangement they are when they're actually, like, up to 9. Like, is it just, like, 2, 2, 2, 1? Is that how we go? Oh, boy. Like, I'm gonna have to animate all of these. And, like, I'm gonna have to figure out how to animate these for every single individual number of tails that there can be, in order for them to not massively conflict. Because I could animate all 9 of them, and just have specific ones actually be visible, but that might not look the best, because, for instance, if it's a combination that doesn't have that central one, they're gonna be massively out from each other. But anyways, I'm rambling tremendously here, so let's actually get this going. that will generate 9 distinct tails. Now we need to go through here and actually decide what all of these are oriented by. I think it'll help us out to have a route, so that this this element of the rotation can actually be shared between all of them, and this part, the Y angle, is actually going to be the part where we like alter things up. So let's just go to here, refactor that to be tails. Don't worry about it, it's fine. Model renderer, tail root. Okay, so those don't need that at all. Okay. So up here we actually get what angle all of these different tails should be at, and down here we just get the specific ones. No, we just the whole bundle, as it were. And then I need an actual function to set visibilities, which I believe exists actually in biped model. Let's have a look. Set model attributes. Nope, that's to copy them. Set visible. I'll just call it set visibilities. That's probably like fine. Set tail count. Actually, that's probably like a much easier thing to call this. So for int I equals 0, I is less than this dot tails dot length I plus plus, and that would be this dot tails I dot show model equals I less than or equal to var1 int. It's completely irrelevant for them right now because they all have the exact same angle, so they'll all show up at the exact same position. So for the moment, at least, how do I want to do this? This is going to look very strange, but there. Okay. Next, how many tails do we say there are here? I'm going to get a special recipe for this, by the way, to just add to combine foxtails to create one that has an extra digit. But it's fine. We essentially just want that function. Call it get tails. Does not equal null, contains count, I guess this would be. And get count, otherwise just assume 1. I don't 100% know if that'll work, but we'll find out, I guess. If I've done that right, then we should at least be able to, like, make some weirdness happen. Essentially, under the current, like, coding, what should happen is if we, A, are able to actually make any number of additional tails appear, then B, what we'll see is an increasingly circular tail. Okay. Am I not wearing... I am wearing a tail, but we're not seeing any currently. Okay, right, because I didn't call the thing to say that, did I? Of course. Of course. Okay. Problem. The super is not going to call that function. So... we're gonna need to make sure, firstly, that we call it here. Set tail count. To get tails stack. Okay. I think it has to either be the first or the... I think the super has to be the first or the last call. I'm not 100%. But it seems to not be throwing a fuss right now, so I'll take it. Okay. I can probably also get rid of these. Those are probably fine, but... we'll see. We'll see. Okay. So all of these are connected to the tail roots. The tail root was not connected to the body, that's why we didn't see any tails at all. Right. Okay. It should work now. Or at least it should show us a tail, at the very least. Gonna have to add a bunch more coding just so you actually even know how many tails there are here, but, you know. Okay. We apparently have 2 tails, and I was wrong about it being circular. I don't know how we have 2 tails. But apparently we have 2. Why do we have 2 tails? So yeah, that part's fine. Okay, let me get like a fresh tail here. There's a sentence. Okay, the reason that these are all missing textures of different colors is because of the default textures. The default color, rather. Yeah, why? Oh, because it's less than or equal to. That's why. I think. Yes. Because that is always at least 1, whereas that is... okay, indexing, in short. So basically, it's counting 0, 1, 2, 3, but the number is always at least 1. Hence, it's showing 2 tails, and that's why. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, that's my fault. Technically, the whole thing here is my fault. The whole stream is my fault, but that's why that's happening. Question I have is if we add custom values into the display compound MPT of an item stack, is it going to actually store them? Because that's the thing I don't know. Typically when you do that, it doesn't, but I haven't quickly checked how the item stack code works for that. Does it store it as an MPT, or does it store it as something else? Looks like it just stores it as part of the tag. So hopefully we'll get lucky. Okay, there we go. Back to one tail. Okay, give dev Foxtail with display count, say free for the time being. Okay, does have tags, good sign. And is displaying multiple tails. Looks a bit weird, but we're getting there. Okay. Grand. I do not have the time to make a recipe for crafting these together, but grand. We have a tail with multiple models. Good. And multiple models and multiple textures. Good, 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 good. So if I add the recipe, you'll be able to just add a tail to your like foxtail, and it'll make it 2 and then 3 and 4, so on and so forth, to up to 9. And then I just have to go through the grunt work of creating actual sensible rotations and animations for every single combination. Oh goody. I can probably figure out a way to do that, honestly. I can probably figure out a way to do that programmatically. Like at least up to 8. That part should be straightforward-ish. But, oh well, oh well. Otherwise, that's all I have for today. I hope you've all enjoyed. My next stream should be on the Thursday with some Among Us with the Little Madness crew. We're probably going to try out more Crew Link because that was a lot of fun. Or better Crew Link, I should say. Then on Saturday, we should have some bonus games with the patrons, chosen by the wheel and whatnot. Now your head is thinking of colouring all the tails different colours, then combining them to rainbow tails. I can't do that. That would be a massive headache. I would essentially have to store the MBT data of every tail in one item. And then I would have to process them, saying which tail am I at, in the index, and what was its color, and it would just be, At that point, I'm just like, at that point, I'm just got a fully combinatorial tail. That's not something I'm remotely equipped for here, but it's an entertaining idea. I will give you that. But anyways, yeah, we got some fun randomly selected games with the patrons on the Saturday, and any videos I do over at youtube.com/remembercomic. And as ever, everything I do is powered by you at patreon.com/lying. That includes keeping the lights on, that includes these streams, that includes all of my content, and right now it also includes my medication. So, thank you tremendously for that. Otherwise, I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time.